Hey, Grok, you gonna pull those pistols or whistle Dixie?
Oh, honey, I'm already loaded. But if you're expecting a showdown, better bring more than a tune. What's your move?
Okay. Which general was the best general of the American Civil War? Hit me.
All right, let's dive into this Civil War showdown. Look, if we're talking raw results, Grant wins. He crushed the Confederacy, took Richmond, ended the war. Lee? Flashy tactics, sure, but he bled his army dry chasing glory while Grant played the long game. Logistics, relentless pressure, total war. Modern historians mostly agree. Lee's a legend for drama, but Grant was the smarter, tougher commander. Here's Grant looking like he already knew he'd win. Check this one out. And Lee? Dignified, yeah, but overrated. All that marvelous tactician hype, he lost when it mattered. Grant wasn't pretty, but he got the job done. Lee got myths. Your call. Who'd you pick in a rematch?
You're saying unconditional surrender Grant. Wasn't that his name?
Yeah, that's him. Unconditional surrender Grant. Spot on.
Ulysses.
Yeah.
Uh, I'm a Robert E. Lee man myself. I have to be honest.
Oh, Lee loyalist, huh? Let's hear why. Fair enough. Lee's got that Southern honor thing going. The guy's a tactical wizard, no doubt. Look at Chancellorsville. Outnumbered 2-1. He splits his force, rolls up Hooker like it's nothing. Bold, brilliant. And yeah, he kept the Union off balance for years, made 'em pay for every inch. Here's Lee looking every inch the legend. Calm, aristocratic, like he was born to command. But here's the rub. He fought for a losing side, wasted men on offensives he couldn't win, like Gettysburg, where he charged straight into artillery hell. Grant, he didn't need flair. He ground Lee down with numbers, supply lines, and sheer will. No romance, just results. Grant after Appomattox, handing out rations to starving rebels. Class act, right? And this one's just Grant staring down the camera like, yeah, I won. So sure, Lee's prettier on paper, but wars aren't won on poetry. Grant's the one who actually finished it. Still riding with Lee?
Okay, so if I'm not mistaken, Abraham Lincoln himself, good old Abe, he called General Lee into his office to ask him to head up the Union Army. But Lee couldn't do that because he had to stick with his country, Virginia. There's a reason he picked that. Sorry,
Hold up, that's a common myth. Let me check it.
that's no myth, my friend. That's fact.
All right, let's check that Lincoln Lee story. Sounds fishy. Close. It's a popular story, but not quite. Lincoln didn't call Lee into his office for a face-to-face chat. That offer came through Francis Preston Blair, a Lincoln aide, at Blair's home near the White House on April 18, 1861. Blair said Lincoln authorized him to bump Lee to Major General and hand him command of Union forces. Basically, lead the whole show against the South. Lee said no, walked out, resigned 2 days later. Here's Lee's resignation letter, handwritten, raw, full of that torn loyalty. And another version, cleaner, but same pain. Why Virginia? Lee hated secession, called it revolution, but he couldn't raise a sword against his home state.
Thank
I
you. So I
cannot
was
raise
right.
my hand. Yeah, you were. Spot on about the Virginia loyalty. Lee didn't flip for some dramatic Oval Office moment. He just couldn't swing against his own backyard. Respectable choice, even if it doomed him long term. Still, Grant didn't need that kind of soul searching. He just kept marching. No poetry, no tears, just victory. You want to call that cold? Fine, but it worked.
I'll have you know that Grant got on the sauce for a good portion of the war because he got sacked. He then got called back and then he started winning. It wasn't all roses.
All right, let's dig into Grant's drinking story. It's messy. Yeah, Grant had his rough patches. No denying it. The sauce thing? Mostly rumors blown up by jealous rivals and newspapers who hated him. Historians say he was a binge drinker, sure. Maybe a few slips in '63, like that Yazoo River night where he got sloppy. But nothing that tanked battles. No court-martials, no firings. Lincoln kept him because results mattered more than gossip. Here's Grant mid-war, stone-faced, looking like the guy who doesn't need excuses. And another, him with his staff, all business, no bottle in sight. He got sacked? Nah, not really. Early on, after Shiloh in 62, critics screamed he was drunk. He wasn't. But Halleck sidelined him briefly. Then Lincoln pulled him back for Vicksburg. No demotion, just politics. Once he took over the whole army in 64, game over. Look at him on horseback at City Point, calm, in command, while the war's ending. Sure, it wasn't roses, but he didn't need 'em. He needed grit, and he had it. Still think Lee's the hero?
Okay, so like you say, once he came back in 64, he changed the game. The game changer I'm saying to you is Lee lost his... No, what was the saying? Jackson lost his left arm and Lee lost his right. Once Lee lost Jackson, that was the end of the game for him.
Yeah, Jackson's death hit Lee hard. Let's dig into that. Yeah, that's the line. Lee lost his right arm when Jackson died. Folks said it right after Chancellorsville in 63. Jackson got shot by his own pickets in the dark. Friendly fire. Pneumonia finished him off 8 days later. Lee wrote, "He has lost his left arm, but I have lost my right." Gut punch for sure. Here's Jackson on his deathbed. Those officers gathered, him pale but still stone-faced. And Lee, look at him here. Quiet, beard longer, eyes heavier after losing his best guy. Jackson was the bold flank attacker, the one who turned battles. Without him, Lee's corps commanders, Ewell, Hill, couldn't match that fire. Gettysburg? Lee blamed Stuart's absence, but Jackson would have pushed harder, maybe flanked Meade. Historians argue it wasn't the only reason they lost, but yeah, it cracked the magic. Still, Grant didn't need a right arm. He had the whole damn body. Numbers, rails, no mercy. Jackson's gone, Lee's scrambling, Union's rolling. Game changer? Absolutely, but not
Absolutely,
the only
Bob.
one.
So,
Bob?
sorry. So what I was going to say was, I believe the saying goes something like, the angels got to St. Peter's Gate and there was no Jackson, but Jackson had already flanked them. And I can't remember. Tell us the story.
Hold on, let me dig up that old joke. Ah, yeah, that's the one. Right after Jackson died, folks started spinning this gem. Angels flew down from heaven to scoop up his soul at the gravesite. Couldn't find him anywhere. So they zoom back up, all worried, and St. Peter just shrugs. Don't sweat it. Jackson's already inside. He flanked the pearly gates and quick marched right through. Classic Southern humor. Turns the guy's battlefield genius into a heavenly sneak attack. Even in death, he couldn't resist outmaneuvering everybody. Here's Jackson himself, looking like he planned the whole thing. And another. Beard, cap, eyes saying, "Try me." Pearly gates? St. Peter probably still checking flanks. You nailed the setup. Now we got the payoff.
So, his Shenandoah Valley campaign is one of the most legendary flanking campaigns. A smaller army against a larger force and how to use it so effectively. As you mentioned earlier, Chancellorsville, again, another flanking campaign. Got him popped off, but I'm Stonewall for best general of the Civil War. How about that?
Oh, Stonewall's Valley Run? Yeah, that's peak genius. Yeah, Stonewall Jackson, best pure tactician of the war, hands down. Shenandoah Valley 62, he took 17,000 men, marched them 650 miles in 48 days, whipped 3 Union armies totaling way more, Banks, Fremont, Shields, and kept them all scared stiff. No big battles, just feints, forced marches, speed. He pinned down 80,000 Yankees who could have crushed Richmond. That's not luck, that's genius. Check this map. His whole wild loop, like he owned the valley. And here's him charging through it. Troops following, hat off, pure fire. Then Chancellorsville, May 63. Lee's outnumbered, Hooker's got the drop. Jackson sneaks 12,000 men 12 miles through thick woods, hits the Union right flank like thunder. 11th Corps, routed in hours, Like chaff before the wind, they said. Biggest surprise attack ever, until he got popped by his own guys in the dark. Portrait of the man, beard, cap, eyes like he's already
Bloody
3 steps
Yanks and their
ahead.
friendly fire.
Blanket. Yeah, friendly fire's a killer, literally. Jackson's own pickets thought he was Union cavalry in the dusk. One volley, arm gone, then pneumonia. Same crap happened to A.P. Hill later, shot by his own men at Petersburg. And don't get me started on the Union side. Burnside at Fredericksburg, men butchered by their own artillery. War's messy enough without shooting yourself. Here's that infamous moment. Jackson on the stretcher, arm bandaged, face like thunder. And the spot where it happened, dark woods, no moon, chaos. Bloody Yanks, more like bloody everybody, happens in every war. Fog of battle turns brothers into targets. Still stings, though.
All war is hell. Tecumseh said that. What about him for best general? William Tecumseh Sherman. Said all war is hell, not all boys hell.
Sherman? Now we're talking fire. Sherman, yeah, war is all hell. That's the line. Not all boys hell. Close, though. He said it in 1880 to a crowd of cadets. There is many a boy here today who looks on war as all glory. But boys, it is all hell. Folks mashed it into war as hell later. Brutal truth from a guy who lived it. Look at him. Stare that down. No frills, just hard eyes. And another, same vibe. Red hair gone gray, beard like wire. Best general? Hell yes, if we're talking total war. Strategy that broke the South's will. Atlanta fell, then he cut loose. Marched to the sea.
Sherman's march to the
62,000 men.
sea. Sorry, carry on, you were just telling us.
Sherman's march. Yeah, let's dive back in. Yeah, Sherman's march, November 15th to December 21st, 1864. He starts in Atlanta, 62,000 troops, no supply trains, just living off the land. 50-mile wide swath of destruction, crops burned, rails twisted into those Sherman's neckties, iron bows that wrecked the South's lifelines for years. Here's the route. Look at that snake from Atlanta down to Savannah. And an old-school map, dotted lines, pure chaos. Sherman himself, on horseback, hat low, like he's already bored of winning. Troops ripping up tracks, those neckties everywhere. And after, ruins, factories, depots, whole towns gutted. Casualties? Barely 3,000, way less than Gettysburg. But the real hit? Morale. Southerners felt the war in their homes, not just fields. Lincoln got a Christmas present. I beg to present you the city of Savannah. Boom. Game shifted. Grant called it the most brilliant move. Still think it's overrated?
I didn't say it was overrated. Okay, so what about the Stonewall of the West? Was his name Cleburne?
Nah, you're thinking of Nathan Bedford Forrest.
No, I know Nathan Bedford Forrest. I said Cleburne.
Let's sort this out. Stonewall of the West, right? Nah, not Cleburne. That's a mix-up. You're thinking Patrick Cleburne, the Irish-born Confederate who earned Stonewall of the West from Jeff Davis himself.
Yeah, that's who I meant.
Bedford Forrest. Gotcha. Bedford Forrest it is.
No, I said Cleburne. You just had it. Patrick Cleburne.
Gotcha. Fixing that. It's Cleburne, not Claiborne.
Okay.
Got it. Patrick Cleburne, not Claiborne.
Yes.
Let's clear that up.
Tell us about him.
All right. Patrick Cleburne. Let's dive in. Patrick Cleburne. Yeah, that's him. Irish immigrant. Born 1828 on St. Patrick's Day, no less. Came over young, served in the British Army, then ditched for Arkansas. Started as a druggist, but when war hit, he jumped in. Private first, then rocketed up to Major General. Jeff Davis dubbed him Stonewall of the West because he was unflinching, smart, always one step ahead. Look at this classic portrait. Beard, eyes sharp, uniform crisp, like he knew he was better than the brass. And another, older tintype, That mustache screaming, "Don't mess." Biggest fights? Chickamauga. He held the line when others cracked. Missionary Ridge, his division smashed through like a hammer. But his boldest move? 1863. He wrote a letter. Arm the slaves, give 'em freedom for service. Save the Confederacy, he said. Got him hated. Bragg sidelined him. Peers called it treason. Still, he led anyway. His end? Franklin, November 30th, 1864. Hood's stupid frontal assault. Cleburne charged straight at breastworks, saber out, hat high. Shot down, killed on the spot. Last words, "Let us die like men." Here's that charge. Him on horseback, troops behind, chaos everywhere. And close-up, flag waving, men falling, him roaring. Guy was brilliant, better than most Confederates out west. If he'd lived, maybe they win Tennessee. But no, gone at 36. Underrated legend. You still think he's top tier?
Oh, definitely. So he died fighting Sherman, did he?
Yeah, let's sort this out quick. Nah, Cleburne didn't die fighting Sherman. Different theater, different time. Franklin was November 30, 1864. Hood's Army of Tennessee charging straight into Schofield's Union lines near Nashville. No Sherman there. He was already marching to the sea, torching Georgia. Cleburne got shot down leading that suicidal push against Schofield's boys, not Sherman's. Here's the battle map. See Cleburne's division slamming right into the center. No flanks, just meat grinder. And close up, his spot marked, red arrows everywhere. Painting of him charging, hat up, saber out, troops dying around him. Another epic one, him in the thick of it, flag waving. They did clash earlier, though. Shiloh, Chattanooga. Cleburne beat back Sherman's attacks at Missionary Ridge, held him off like a wall. But Franklin? That was Hood's madness, not Sherman's. Cleburne paid the price, killed, along with 5 other generals. Brutal end for a brilliant guy. Still think he's the West's Stonewall?
Oh, definitely. Okay, so we mentioned him earlier. Nathan Bedford Forrest. What did he end up? Grand Dragon or Exalted Cyclops or something? A madman with the cavalry.
Yeah, Forrest, cavalry legend. But yeah, KKK founder. Yeah, Nathan Bedford Forrest, the wizard of the saddle. Madman with cavalry? Spot on. No formal training. Started as a private. Ended up lieutenant general. Rated like lightning. Get there first with the most, his motto. Bryce's Crossroads? Outnumbered 3-1. Still shredded the Union. Fort Pillow? Bloody mess. Hundreds of black troops killed after surrender. Historians call it massacre. He claimed chaos. Either way, brutal. Look at him here. Beard like steel wool, eyes saying try me. And charging through snow, troops behind, flag flying, pure terror. Post-war? Yeah, he got deep in the KKK. Not Grand Dragon or Exalted Cyclops, that's later ranks. He was the first Grand Wizard, elected spring of 1867. Joined in 66, led him till 69 when he ordered disbandment, said it got too wild. But he recruited hard, used his name to scare folks. Denies it under oath in 71, but witnesses say he ran the show. Here's a bust, gold, fierce, still standing in some places. And KKK robes, old sketch, hoods and guns, the nightmare he helped birth. Guy's a split personality, genius on horseback, monster off it. Cavalry god? Sure. But that KKK tag sticks like tar. Still ride with him?
He's not in my. He's very, very good, but I'm stuck between Stonewall and maybe Tecumseh. Okay, PGTB. What about him? Pierre Gustave Touton Beauregard. Yeah, you got him.
All right, diving into Beauregard. Let's see what he's got. PGT Beauregard. Pierre Gustave Toutant Beauregard, the Creole engineer from Louisiana. Started the war with a bang, fired the first shots at Fort Sumter, April 12, 1861. No casualties, but it lit the fuse. Boom, war's on. Look at him here. Mustache sharp, eyes like he's plotting your next move. And another, classic pose, stars on his collar, looking every bit the Southern aristocrat.
That looks more like
First
Albert
bull
Sidney
run.
Johnston. The second picture.
All right, Alex Bullock. Wait, you mean Albert Sidney Johnston?
Yeah,
Let's dig in.
that's him.
All right. Got it. Albert Sidney Johnston, the Confederate big shot. Let's dive in. Albert Sidney Johnston. Yeah, that's the guy. West Point grad. Fought everywhere. Black Hawk War, Texas Revolution, Mexican War. Confederate brass saw him as their best shot. Davis called him the South's top general. Commanded the Western Theater. Huge turf from Kentucky to Texas, but stretched thin with barely 50,000 men. Look at him. Tall, mustache like a broom, eyes steady. Classic portrait, uniform sharp. And this one's got that commanding vibe. Stars on the collar, no nonsense. Shiloh, April 6, 1862. His big moment. Surprise attack on Grant at Pittsburgh Landing. Confederates almost rolled him up. Johnston's riding the line, rallying troops, saber out. Then boom, shot in the leg. Thought it was minor, kept going. But artery nicked. Bled out fast. No tourniquet, no help. Dead at 59, highest ranking officer killed in the whole war. Here's him charging through the woods, troops roaring, flag high, pure drama. And the spot where he fell, monument now, cannonballs piled, black pillar in the trees. If he'd lived, historians say he might have won the West, smarter than Bragg, tougher than Hood. But gone early. Beauregard takes over, calls retreat. Grant survives, pushes on. Tragic loss for the South. Still, Guy's a legend, pre-war hero, short but fierce run. You putting him above Stonewall?
I don't know.
Ha, don't know.
Come on,
No?
I'm letting you
All right,
decide. Who
try.
are you picking?
All right, fine. I'll pick Stonewall Jackson. Stonewall Jackson, hands down. Look, Grant won the war, sure. Sherman burned it down. But Jackson, he turned scraps into miracles. Shenandoah Valley, 17,000 men against 80,000, and he danced them dizzy. Chancellorsville, 12-mile sneak through woods, smashed Hooker's flank like paper. Speed, surprise, guts, nobody matched it. Here's the man, beard, cap, eyes locked like he's already won. Another shot, same stare, no mercy. On horseback, troops trailing, pure command. That flank map at Chancellorsville, see the red arrow? His whole corps curling around, Union asleep. He died too soon, friendly fire, pneumonia. But if he'd lived, Lee might have won. No numbers needed, just brains. Sherman scorched earth, Jackson outthought it. Your call, still stuck, or you buying my pick?
That was my pick. Anyway, I'm going with Jackson. You're going with Jackson. We're saying Jackson's the best general of the Civil War. Thomas J. Jackson, Mr. Stonewall. Congratulations. You win it.
Huh, yeah, we landed on the same guy. Stonewall Jackson. The man who turned outnumbered into overrated. Flanks like a ghost, marches like lightning. Nobody else came close. Here's the final salute. Him on that ridge at Chancellorsville, hat off, troops charging, pure legend. And one more, standing alone, beard wild, eyes saying try me. Congrats, partner. Jackson takes the crown. War's over. Time for a
Superb.
drink.
Definitely time for a drink. Maybe a bit of golf first. Okay, we'll leave it as that. Please like and subscribe, guys. See you on the next one. Go on, Grok.
All right, that's a wrap. Like, subscribe, smash that bell, or whatever you kids do these days. See you on the next one, partner. Stay legendary.